So I just want to talk about to you here, back to what we started with. Now I'm going to go to a 3-wood. So there's going to be more energy, okay? And so the orbit is going to be greater, okay? The orbit's going to have more force to it. Just like a comet, Halley's Comet comes in 76 years later, zips around the sun and gets flung out again. Gets flung so far it takes it 76 years to come back, right? So a 3-wood's got more energy, and so my opposition, when folded over, I'd like to say I need to increase it slightly, yeah? I need to increase the opposition slightly because I've got a longer club that's going to orbit around me. And so the more I increase it on this end, when the club turns it over, hopefully the more I've got on this side as well, which I also need for the longer club because it's coming like a freight train, right? It's undoing this alignment. The camera sees it's undoing it. And so I want to make sure I've created the alignment that's suitable for the shot at hand. Now, the most simple way to change shots is to change clubs, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Right? I could change shots with my 6-iron, which I just did, a fade and a draw, yeah. Or I could change shots just by changing clubs. So I have to adjust. These fundamentals have to adjust, yeah? So what I'm going to try to achieve here, John, is I'm going to try to get the same process, apex to base, apex to base, same thing, apex to base. And I just know that with more energy coming, there's more onus on me staying in my alignment, staying in sequence, in my direction. If I pop out of there or do anything like that, if I change direction, with more energy comes greater disaster. Fair enough?
Yep.
It's apex to base in sequence, in opposition, in drag, and then it's the club in one direction. And I think they say in the classics, Bob's your uncle. So
you wouldn't be able to putt with that ball, Marty, because
that's your favourite. That's your favourite line, isn't it? I like that line.
When you hit it that hard, the ball has a flat side on. You can't putt with it.
I just like how where I was looking it went. That's the main thing for me. So here's the thing that I want to make clear is that the goal of the content and the goal of my discussion with you is to outline these are very concrete things. Like this alignment, it's a real thing. If you watch any of the top players with that alignment in mind, you'll see that they're not getting out of it very far at all, if at all. Okay, and if they did, they'd hit it a bit skew-if. You have to be in these fundamental things in order to contain the energy of a club that swung once. If a golfer could swing it like that...
That's how I want to feel the club goes.
But
that's how, when I first saw you do that 10 years ago, that's how I wanted to swing the club. I had no idea how to do it. Okay, but the thing is, I'm swinging that like 5-6 times. My point is, we only get... You can only... I know the process, but that's like the sequence. It's like a... See, it's funny. I'm not... Like, I did that as a means to get to a point of making a statement about how you only get one chance to do it, and you're looking at the motion, go, I fucking love that motion. It's like, that looks great. But for me, it's like, no. The thing is... But I can,
no, I know.
I can condense that down from a whole bunch of rotations to one as an aspect.
Oh no, I don't disagree with that, I guess, but my point is that you only get one chance to load energy, you only get one chance to store it, and 1 chance to deliver it each time. Do you get 7 chances to do those things in a golf shot? You only get 1 chance. So they say play 1 shot at a time. It's like, what? Am I going to play 2 at once? Like, that's stupid, right? So I can only play 1 shot at a time. But worse than that, in the 1 shot that I can play at one time, I have no choice. I also only get 1 shot at producing what I need. Because when you get 3/4 of the way through your 1 swing, you don't get a choice now. You're stuck with that, aren't you? Right? So what I'm saying is, if you only get 1 chance on any shot that matters, you only get 1 chance. How are you going to build the energy? How are you going to store?
Next question.
How are you going to store the energy? How are you going to deliver the energy? With these fundamentals, okay? So I'm going to build the energy in a sequence. You think of this like revving an engine, okay? I'm revving an engine. You see Padraig Harrington's doing this now. Bryson DeChambeau does this now. They rev the engine. You know, Padraig Harrington's up there on the bloody senior tour and he's just got his driver and he's like... Right? He's doing that.
And hitting at 330.
It's awesome, right? But he's revving the engine, is my point, because he can't do those two in the shot. So he's just trying to get himself up to speed for the 1 chance he gets. That's a good lesson for everybody in a golf shot, even if it's a little soft chip. It's like, you don't be in there all strong, because then how are you going to make it soft all of a sudden at the moment that it counts? Bryson's like standing there pumping, right? He's pumping himself all the way up. Well, you don't have to do that, okay? You don't have to go that far.
Not at my age.
No, but what you can do is in sequence with drag, right, in this opposition, right, in opposition, you can build it to be something very specific. So what Harrington's doing there is he's building it up, and what Bryson's doing, they're building it up to be as energetic as possible. You can build it to be energetic, but you can also build it to be very specific, John, and that's the point. How hard I go here with the apex away from me, and how hard I go away from the apex, aren't I creating something there specific?
Oh, big time.
Okay. Yeah. So what my point is that I don't try to make it something it's not. And that's a key to not moving the swing. Like I said earlier, letting the club swing in one direction relative to you requires allowing it to be, I'm going to allow the club to be the specific thing that I've built here. Okay? Allow it to be what I built. So do you have any thoughts on that, John? As far as, is there any questions as to what that end game is?
Well, as a general overview, when I see you setting up to play the shot and you're going through your body component facet movements, establishing and setting up, I think that's something we all should try, but that's what I'm going to build into my golf swing. I'm going to try and emulate the look of your componentry facets operation. That's what I want to do. I want to get, I call this jigging. You know, this is body jigging. I'm actually jigging the process. I'm getting the feel of it here. And I think you've got to do that to get the loadings that you want.
Yeah.
And I've seen that from you from like 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. You've always had that process of being able to jig the start and set the pressures in place. Now I can't do that if I just get over like that.
No, you've got to
just lay a tangent sort of loading here. I've got to be able to sort of get the base, get the apex set up. I've got to do what you want.
It's a great question. There's two things. There's two threads that I could run off here. The first one is a simple one. I could just use words. Okay. The reason these fundamentals, the 4 things I said, the alignment between the two ends, the sequence between the two ends, the direction of one end to the other, the club to you, okay, and then the drag between the two ends. Those 4 things. The reason you need them all, okay, is because they all contribute to this motion, okay, a motion in one direction, in one sequence, in one alignment, right, that just can continue in that same vein. Okay, you don't have to introduce anything new. To your point, if you just stood there and created certain angles without the dynamics of the sequence and the drag, for example, let's say you were in the alignment that I talk about. You're in the alignment, okay, and then you're going to go away from it in your feet and pelvis, but you don't have the seat. You're not on the other end, you see. So you've got to have it all. So that's how I'd answer the second part of that.
Well, I see that manifesting itself as really obvious to me standing here on this angle, that the pressuring out, you're setting that drag, and it's so I think that's just something that has to be there, mate.
I want to, you said too, there's another way, like the first thing, if I can refer back to the first thing you said there, you just alluded to the preparation for getting ready. And so I think this is good, because most of the work in this way of approaching things takes place before the swing even moves, okay? Before the club head leaves the back of the ball, the vast majority of this is done, okay? It's not that it doesn't stop when the club leaves the back of the ball, but you're already doing what you need to do. So I'm already, if I was to say my role, how I treat the club and how I treat myself relative to the club, which is apex to base, okay, I'm doing that already, and I keep doing exactly that to here. So it's not that I stop doing it, but I don't do anything new. So I'll just quickly put that in there, apex to base. That's what I'm doing right there. That's what I'm doing, and I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. Okay, the club produced the rest of that. It's apex to base in sequence, in opposition, in drag, and then it's the club in one direction.